And we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Scoot Fridays, episode number 10. We are super excited to be here today. We've got myself, Mac, and Chris and Eloi. So the three musketeers, as we've come to be known. We haven't actually gotten together, just the three of us, in a while. So excited to be chatting with you guys. And we've got a fun one today. So we've done a lot of topics so far. But this one has been highly requested by the community. And honestly, I'm kind of curious to see what you guys will have to say about this as well, because the topic today is favorite mods and accessories. So all we know is that our community loves their scooters, but they also love modifying their scooters, changing the tires, adding steering dampeners, buying better lights, and getting kitted out with full body armors, helmets, and whatnot. So we figured, why not take 30 minutes today and actually talk about what are some of our favorite accessories, any brands we may want to recommend, and a great place to start is safety, because ultimately the first thing before we can talk about anything else with scooters is just staying safe, right? So the first thing that comes to mind when we think about safety is helmets. So Elwa, let's start with you. I know you have some strong opinions about helmets. What are your thoughts on the best helmets in the industry?
Your head is hard enough, so no need for that. Well, that's what it's in Florida, I think. Huh? The best helmet is TSG, in my opinion. TSG is well known for like mountain bike and electric skateboard. And what is nice about TSG is that if you wear glasses like me, you can fit them under the visor. So TSG is a full face. I think you should always wear a full face. That's the first criteria. The problem with them usually is that you have a visor that goes on top of it, or even like a motorcycle like glasses. So you need to have like contact lens. It's quite annoying, and Match, it's always in the way, your glasses. So this one, it was taught to be like a flat like this. So you have space for this. There's integrated like a Bluetooth set as well if you want to listen to your music. So TSG would be my number one choice. I made the mistake to buy a snowbird one the year before. It's cool. It's all chrome, it looked beautiful. But the front that covered the mouthpiece is it's all in plastic. So if you crash during summer with it, it's going to be a disaster. So TSG with the hard shell, not the soft one.
So would you say a lot that? Sorry, I was just going to jump in, Chris, and clarify. Do you think it's worth looking at motorcycle helmets potentially over and above,
bike? 100%, and TSG is like $300 or $400. It's quite expensive. It's worth it, but you can go on Amazon and look for motorcycle helmets. It's like $100. Aaron, engineer, has one that he paid $100, and that's great. Motorcycle.
But just be super careful. I was gonna jump in and say, like, on Amazon and stuff, when you're getting helmets like this, make sure they have the right, I think it's a DOT certification. That means it's been tested. It's gone through QC properly, because they are very cheap helmets, and the last thing you want to cheap out on is something that's protecting your life, right? So don't cheap out. And that's like my favorite as well. Yeah.
I remember at first we were looking to buy at Apollo, like when we started, we wanted to put helmet on the website, and we did, and we ordered a bunch of samples from a company called GUV, which is a pretty good company, but their helmets were absolutely terrible. Way too small. The front, you could just remove the piece guarding your shin. There was definitely different quality out there of helmet.
Yeah, and for the record, I think Chris, you mentioned DOT. There is a number of certifications. So definitely, depending on which country you're in, there's probably a local agency and authority. Like DOT, for example, stands for the U.S. Department of Transportation, and that's just essentially a stamp that says that the helmet complies with their standards for helmets. So definitely do your own research into your own country, into your own territory, and see if there's an organization that supports a specific piece of safety equipment, because that is the one thing we generally recommend not cheaping out on. And even though we generally say for our performance scooters, go with full face. For the entry level scooters, you can just get a regular biking helmet. We've heard cases where people are going 15 kilometers an hour on an air, and a car just T-bones them, and it's the helmet that saves them. So really, if you are anything like us, we always recommend edging on the side of caution and just going with a full face helmet. We know it looks a little bit ridiculous when you're going on an air, but it only needs to be used once, and already it's worth that investment and looking ridiculous for all the days that come before. So Yeah.
And I guess for people that don't want the full face, another good company is Libal. That's what one of our tech Lorenzo has, and it's cool, this one, because you have turning signal integrated at the back with a remote on the handlebar. So that's pretty cool. And they just came out with external light that are also Bluetooth. So you can add like turning signal, brake light, like on your handlebar. That's going to be linked with the helmet as well. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and I said that's something in the space I'm so sad they didn't manage to innovate in. There was one, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a Kickstarter campaign for a helmet, like a smart motorbike helmet called Scully. They raised $1.2 million, and it was literally like an Iron Man full face, and it was like you had the full cameras on both sides, you had indicators, you had music, you had everything. They raised $1.2 million, and then they just went, they just vanished. So that's a bit like they're saying, oh, the Libal, but on steroids, which is a real shame. I would have loved to try that one.
Mm-hmm. Probably $1,000 though for the helmet, right?
Yeah, it was probably ridiculous. I know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, at some point, I think it kind of begs the question: do you really need integrated everything? Including wipers on your helmet. Like, there's probably a line that people cross sometimes, right? But I think safety comes first and foremost. So just
even music, I would don't ever wear noise canceling headphones while riding. You see way too much, and like right now is like the early adopter curve of scooters. And if you're doing this and you have a crash or whatever, it's going to be the front page of the news. And it's really important just to make sure you're always focused on the road. You're not listening to music, you're not talking on the phone, because one person's going to ruin it for everybody. So anyway, I know it's fun and
on
easy.
The Pro, yeah, has a speaker, right, for that?
Yes, exactly. So you can still hear.
Yeah, so the design choice there was really to kind of allow you to do the best of both worlds, where you can still be riding and be aware of your surroundings, but also hear music if you're going on a longer, kind of more recreational ride. And actually, there's kind of a secondary benefit to it too, because it means that if you're playing music while riding, that likely indicates to somebody on the road that you are coming, right? So it kind of makes people around you become aware of your presence as well. So. Okay, so I think that about covers it with helmets. Generally, once again to recap, we recommend full face helmets. Please review your local requirements and regulations to make sure that you're buying a regulated and high quality helmet. Be a little bit more cautious of those retailers on Amazon that might be selling them for $80-$90. Spending an extra $100 on something that might potentially save your life is absolutely worth it. So we highly recommend not chipping out on this specific accessory. So. I see there is a handful of questions. We will probably carry on with a couple of more topics for another 7 minutes or so, and then halfway through the show, we'll switch to answering questions. So please stay tuned. So now let's talk about other protective equipment, guys. What are the options for customers who are looking to go a little bit over at the top and be really, really safe, and maybe a helmet is just not enough for them? What else can they be wearing to protect themselves?
I guess a good example is probably Josh, that has also one of our tech that has the full body armor, and Aaron as well. It's the full body armor come with the chest, with the back. You have the elbows, shoulder, knee, and but you don't have the wrist usually. So getting a full body armor like this is pretty good. That's what people wear usually for motorcycle. Also quite on the expensive side, probably looking at $300-$400. But it's not that expensive when compared to a helmet. That just helmet can cause this, and that's going to protect your whole body. And the wrist guard. The only time I crashed with a scooter, my wrist got injured. So for me, I think I would start with the wrist and the knee, and yeah, just like I never go scooting too with like a t-shirt, always long sleeve. So at least if you crash, it's going to protect a little bit. But yeah, I would say wrist one is pretty important.
Yeah, I'm the same thing. It's always a risk. The first thing you do, your natural reflex when you fall off is like you block it off. So wrist, and it you never skin. And again, if you're spending a lot of money on getting like the Phantom that goes 40 miles an hour, 65 kilometers an hour, like invest in the right equipment. Like just one crash again can really hurt. And it's not even if you're at fault or not at fault, you're still at that risk, right? So I would say same wrist. Knees and elbows, pretty much. Those are like all of your folding points. They haven't yet invented the airbags for motorcycles or scooters yet, but it's coming. We get a lot of emails from that, but yeah, those are the key ones. And lighting, I think for me, it's lighting as well, right? Like the more lights you can get, the better. I know there's some really cool like shred light and stuff you can buy and just put on your shoulders and put everywhere that flashes. The more visible you are at night and while you're riding, the safer you'll be. And it costs nothing, these lights on Amazon and stuff. So highly recommend.
And again, I think it comes back to things that we've taken into consideration while designing the Pro as well, not to make it all about the Pro, but we have been hearing the same feedback from the community for the last 3 years, which is bigger lights, brighter lights, more lights, horns, right? Like all of these things that we used to sell as additional accessories, like a mounted handlebar light or a additional horn that you would have to use, they now come standard with a scooter like the Pro, right? So we're just trying to make sure that you guys, especially those of you that are choosing to spend the top dollar for a scooter as fancy as that, you are getting everything in one package, and there's really nothing else you need to be buying for that scooter because it's as complete as it gets, and all of it always comes back to safety. So from the frame design all the way to the lighting to the built-in horn and speaker, those are all considerations we made to make sure that you stay as safe as possible when riding, so that others can see you when you're coming, so that you can see where you're going when you're riding in the dark, and the same thing goes for sound. So hopefully that just highlights the importance of safety in our original designs. Cool. Okay, now let's talk a little bit more about scooter mods. So of course the Pro is a bit of its own category where it can't really be modified as much as some of the scooters we sell today. But I would love to hear, guys, what are your top 3 mods that you've ever seen? They don't have to be your scooters. It could be a community or a customer that did that for you, or that you basically saw doing. But what were the top 3 mods that you've ever come across?
So it's super important to say, like, when you're modifying a scooter, make sure you by modifying the scooter, it depends on what you're doing, but you can also avoid the warranty. So be super careful. Make sure you're very knowledgeable of what you're doing, and make sure that you're not creating, short-circuiting the wires or the batteries or motors and everything. But for me, in terms of mods, I think we have, again, the beautiful part of this community is that we have super passionate riders and fans. There was one that was Joe, the mailman that we used to work at Canada Post. He modified his Apollo scooter so much that he could ride from Montreal to Ottawa on it. I think he had like 3 extra battery packs all set up. He had all the lights up there. He had speed cameras. He had just everything you can think of, and he took such good care of it. For me, like, the additional range and everything that he had made was just genius. So that was it for me. I think it was like he had all the lights on. Everything was just so well done. So it was, again, he changed the suspension to hydraulic air suspension, and then he added the extra battery packs. Those were the mods that I found really cool.
Cool. What about you?
There's a couple. One, the light is that's the most flashy thing when you sell a scooter. And someone posted last week that they modified their city to look like the Pro, with the light on the stem and the body, with COB light. It looks so
they
good.
Call city lights. No, Pro light, sorry.
The Pro light, yeah. And that's pretty cool. And to the point that Chris mentioned, what we see people doing sometimes is just taking their light and plugging it on the box light or on the light circuit that already exists. And it's obviously not designed to support like a COB. Like on the Pro, we have an external controller just for those lights. So that's what he means by sometimes be careful. Always use an external battery pack for this. It's always safer. And it's going to be easier for the wiring as well. But yeah, I would say this. Suspension wise as well, we made like some mud on our side at the factory. We tried like air suspension on the city. That was pretty cool, but way too expensive, and there was some problem, but I love that. Yeah, the extra battery pack is nice, but again, people, I think they need to be careful to not just plug their battery pack like in parallel with another battery and just basically that's it. Going with the scooter, you need to have a circuit built in. You need to have like a switch between the 2 batteries, because they won't drain at the same time, because one is probably older than the other and need to be the exact same cell. So if you do this, the best one I've seen so far is a Falcon PEV. On their website, they have the switch built in, all the wiring. It's going to be like $1,000 to buy the whole kit, but it's worth it. Like, really don't try to do this at home. It's not worth it. You're gonna fry something. Yeah.
And the two other cool ones that we saw, there was one that was like in America. Of course, the guy had a gun pouch holder on his stem for his gun, which is like quite a funny mod. And the second one is like, we see a lot of the dog baskets behind the scooters. Not too sure how safe that is, but it's a very cute idea. And just, again, if you're doing that, make sure you have someone who knows what they're doing with the bolts and making sure there's enough space and that you don't do fast turns, etc. But yeah, What about you,
Another
Mitch?
another
What's your-
cool one is the I was gonna say the sticker. It was really hard with our old model to have like clean sticker cutouts because of all the curve on it, and people were still able to do it. But with the new lineup, like the Pro, the Lite, and the Explore, all the surfaces are really flat. So I'm sure we or the community will be able to do crazy sticker set that's going to be super easy to put up.
But it's also so beautiful that do you really want to mess with stickers?
Chrome sticker could be nice. Huh?
Chrome sticker on a Chrome scooter. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think where my mind goes is typically modifications that change the functionality of the scooter. So, I have some thoughts on the Pro seat, and I kind of we had that discussion about maybe redoing it a little bit. But a seat that allows you to bring a passenger on your scooter for me is a game changer because I think it just basically transforms what is a single person vehicle into a 2-person vehicle. And we had discussions about like, what if we designed like a full weather enclosure for the Pro as well, and all of a sudden it becomes a scooter, not that you just ride in the summer, and it becomes a moped, right? So with each one of these modifications, it's almost like we're expanding the potential number of use cases for a product, which to me is just super fascinating, because we're moving towards that point of having one vehicle and a bunch of different accessories, and you almost don't need a car in certain situations, right? So I feel like we're already starting to creep into the territory of becoming a one-stop shop vehicle, which is really exciting for us. So I'm excited to see that prototype of the full weather enclosure. Cool, guys. We have a lot of questions, so let's jump right into it. First one from Austin. Austin, nice to see you. Thanks for coming out. So favorite mod is adding 2 Tribit Micro 2 speakers onto the City Pro. I just got to jam out while writing. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly the insight we've been getting from the community for a long time now. That's exactly why the Pro is coming with a speaker, and all the subsequent models like the Explorer and the Lite that we're working on as well will come with built-in speakers. So we know the community loves to have a bit of music in the background while they're writing, and I think that's going to become your signature look as well while cruising on the canal in Montreal, blasting some music. Can we make Apollo branded gear? We already have Apollo branded gear actually on our website. So if you head on over to, I think it's called the accessories section on the website, and then there's a drop down called merch, and there should be a full collection of a bunch of different things actually. So feel free to take a look. Austin again. I brought up a conversation with Huda about a loaner scooter options for owners that need to leave their scooter off for a repair shop. Thoughts on this? Yeah, we actually had this discussion after you brought it up with her, and we completely agree. For us, it's a question of organizing the repair centers first a little bit, and that's our priority for the next 2 weeks. So Nadim is going to Nadim RCO is flying to New York over the next week, and then we are working on the Montreal setup to get us to a place where we have enough of a process and a system in place where we can account for how many repairs are coming in, how many loaners are required, and basically we're managing it as a fleet. And hopefully our customers that are dropping off their scooters are able to pick up a loaner by, I would say as early as the second half of the summer. That's definitely something that we're working on. So great suggestion there. Chris, you want to take the next couple questions? Mix it up?
Yep, that's it. So Nathan, I understand that you mentioned earlier policy owners would be eligible to receive the upgrade kit at no cost. Could you please provide me instructions on proceeding and obtaining the kit? Unfortunately, Nathan, I think that's a misunderstanding. What we are doing is I believe for the people who have the City, it's at cost. So we give you a discount. So you can write to our team at support@apolloscooters.co, and I'll give you that discount for your City upgrade. Apologies for any misunderstanding on that. Jock, so please clarify the difference in controller on the Ghost between 2021 800 watts, 2021 1000 watts, and 2022 1000 watts. Alwa, do you want to take this one?
The controller we changed the controller inside, but it's the same output. We just it's the motor. We added a couple winding, and that's it. Pretty minimal the change.
Cool. So intervention, could you create render of a performance edition concept of the product Pro? Honestly, I mean, if you guys want to give it a try as well, I think it could be really cool to see the community do it. I know Super 73, a lot of customers take the thing, do a design, see what it looks like and share it with us. We'd love to see, because again, it's nice coming from you guys, and that's why we get a lot of the inspiration and really good ideas from. So I challenge you and put that question back to you. Create a render of a performance edition and let's see what it looks like. I think it could be a really fun experiment to show the community. Austin, I saw a guy with a pole from the back of his deck and his brake lights. It went 4 feet into the air, and that was a brake light on it. Yeah, so that's probably an exaggerated sort of vision for safety on the lights, which is good. I think the more lights you can get, the better, and that's always really, really good. So Steve, aren't you guys supposed to be in China getting my Pro ready? So Magic and Elva are heading off next Tuesday to go and get that ready. Not to worry, they'll be doing a lot of media coverage on all of that. So that's going to be really cool.
If there are any questions you want us to answer, we will be sharing content with the content team on a daily basis. So, if there's a specific part of the manufacturing process you want to see, if there's a specific component supplier you want to see, if there is really anything you want to know from in terms of the behind the scenes type of footage, let us know. We're going to be filming everything and sharing everything. You guys have been with us since the beginning of this process. And the least thing we can do is just give you full visibility into the manufacturing process. So we're going to be sharing a lot, and let us know what you'd like to see.
Yeah. Dr. Bay, tell us about the Apollo Innovation Program and how we can use that to collab on making safety gear mods for the community through Apollo. So yeah, if you've looked at our website, the Apollo Innovation page is now live, in which you'll see everything that the team's working on. And there is a community section at the bottom, I believe, where you can add comments, feedback, recommendations, etc. But no, that's a great point. And again, making safety gear and mods, like at Apollo, our quest is to make the best electric scooter, and we want to focus on that quest and not go too much into making mods, making lights, accessories, and everything else. And that's why we need those, the professionals to do it for now. I'm not saying in the future they could change, but yeah, we are open to that as well. I'm going to switch because there was a few questions that some people sent beforehand as well, and I think this could be interesting. So specific to the city model, I think there's a lot of questions on how to address accessories to the handlebars because of the shape. Elwar, do you have any updates or feedback on how people can do that on their cities and as?
Yeah. Basically, there is no way to put it. It's that simple because of the shape of the handlebar. I think what we could do is do an handlebar extender like they sell on AliExpress and whatever. It's adding a 20 millimeter pole in front of the handlebar. We could do this. The difficulties that we have is we would need to open a custom mold that fit the city handlebar, like we did for the pole molder, for example, and then do the bar extender. It was requested a lot. It's the same thing since the 2021 Air, and it's going to be the same thing this year and next year. So it's probably worth doing that accessory. But yeah, I've seen that question a lot, and I think maybe we can try to sketch up something and see if it would be feasible.
Cool. Chris Dudley, hello. If I buy the City 2022 Pro, will the upgrade already be installed on that scooter, or will I have to order? So Chris, you would have to order it separately. But it's really just a plug and play system for the new handlebar. Really, you just undo 4 screws, unplug, plug in, and it's a super easy process. And that's why the team designed it that way, to make it just anybody be able to do it without having to bring to a repair shop. The other one we got was, so in terms of modding the scooter itself, I think it would be interesting to know what the possibilities are and what people have done. I see a lot of people recommend Nuts branded brakes, but I'm wondering, in the cycling space, can Shimano work on scooters? Great question. And first of all, just
on the adapter.
Sorry, good.
I was going to say,
have you seen someone do it before? Yeah.
Shimano, no. And I think it has to do with maybe the size of the disc that we're using. And also, like, I know all the scooters are opposite side usually. I think it's on the left side, and usually it's on the right side or the opposite. I think you would have to undo the bracket of like a nut brake on the actual caliper and install it on the Shimano if it's the same distance, and then maybe it could work. But I personally haven't seen it yet.
Because how do people do it with the Magura brakes? Are they like 3D prints? I've seen people 3D print a sort of binding now.
Magura brake, now they do the actual adapter to put it on those discs, or I think they take the nut one as well. But I know Magura, they started doing the actual bracket for scooters.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, those are also really, really high quality brakes. If anybody is going super fast and needs really good brakes. We're getting a few questions here about the Pro Beta, when it arrives, logistics questions. Those, honestly, if you want any answers to those, just write to our sales team. They'll answer all of it. So like Mike, for example, I'm pretty sure the scooters will be fully charged as that's going to be part of the unpacking and the testing. So you should be good to go. And then Mark, Andre as well. All of those will speed through the updates. So yeah, just letting you know on that one. Another one was, this is the most American question ever, so please excuse me, but what's a good cup holder for writing with a nice iced coffee? As long as it's an iced coffee and not a beer, that's the most important part. But we used to sell phone holders. I don't know if you guys remember the name of the brand. It was actually quite good. I think it was like Otto or something.
Holder was Motor. I think it was Motor Life, the one we're using. We had the one. Yeah, it was Motor
Wolf. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Motor Wolf. Yeah.
Motor Wolf. Okay.
And this one was good because you could like set it to the size of your cup. You could like there was a clamp system to grab it, so that would be a good one.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, okay, guys. I think that's pretty much it on the questions. Is there anything else you guys want to add in terms of mods, accessories to leave with the community? Go ahead, Match.
Yeah, we've received quite a few more on the comment section here. In the meantime, so just to power through those really quickly. Seeking an alternative front light for City Pro. Most mounts don't look like they will be compatible with the handlebar. Any recommendations? Oh, well, what are the options for attaching better handlebars, headlights on the City Pro?
The new headlight is a bit better on the City on the new upgrade kit, so that's one option. Again, I think we need to make an extender, and people just put the extender, and then you can choose between all the lights on the market, or the one we have on our website also fit on the end of the fit. It's very tight, very, very tight. But yeah, let us make an extender, and then you can choose any lights you would like. Maybe also a more powerful light can be plugged on the same circuit, but I'm not sure. So if you want to try it, do it at your own risk. But yeah, you'll have to wait for the extender.
Cool. Okay. Mike, you reached out about being in LA and wanting to pick up the Pro Beta when it arrives. I think we should be able to accommodate that. Just shoot us an email at support@apolloscooters.co when you receive the notification that your scooter is available for pickup, and we should be able to proactively charge it for you. Otherwise, a lot of requests about carbon reinforced plastics in the future. Yeah, so, I think, was that Chris?
Sorry. No, I was going to say a lot of questions as well about PMT tires. I don't know if you know, is it really that much better? Like, why are people so obsessed with PMT tires recently?
I think PMT is just like, it's Italian, it sounds sexy and good, and it is good. But I think if you go like if you do racing or you go like on the circuit like we do here a lot, it's worth it. But as soon as you have ugly street, it's gonna get damaged way quicker. And those tires, they don't last long because of the rubber being so soft. And if you do it for the city, for example, well, you lose the self-healing property of the city. So they are good tires. They're probably the best aftermarket one you can buy, but you have zero thread on this. So like, don't expect to go off-road with it, or when it's gonna rain, it's gonna slip everywhere. So just need to manage your expectation, but it's a good brand.
Cool. A couple of other questions. Best place to hide an Apple AirTag. I think we have a video on that actually on our YouTube.
We have a YouTube video.
So yeah, Nathan, I highly recommend you just go on our YouTube channel and you search for the AirTag video. There should be a bit of content on that. Trade-ins. Actually, we are working on a trade-in program, or more specifically on an upgrade program. So hopefully we have a bit more details to share later this summer. So stay tuned, Kevin. And then a couple of other questions. There's no info about the new City Pro headlight. What's the specs? What do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, I have it here. Just give me 1 second. I'll find it. So the old one was 10 lux. That's a unit of measurement for light. The new one is 20, so it's double. And you can also control where the beam is shining. So twice as bright, and you can control where it is. So still a bit on the weak side, honestly. So I would recommend like an external headlight if you really want like high power lights, but yeah, twice as more. And the question about the fender, carbon fiber fender, I think if we are to do something in carbon fiber, I wouldn't waste some money on mold for fenders. I would do it like for the frame, where we could really save money instead of like a plastic fender, for example.
Right, because the main advantage, just to be clear, is weight savings, right? So you probably want to concentrate it on the heavier parts, not so much the parts that don't really contribute that much weight to begin with, like the fenders.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Michael, why is everyone having issues with the Mach 1 overheating in the Phantom? Is everyone having issues
Yeah,
with them?
no. So I think that's being like that's a bubble on Facebook of people saying that, because I see the data of every single controller that are connected out there, and if I look right now, I can tell you how many controllers are connected and what is the average temperature for all of them. So there is 900 Apollo Phantom being connected with the app, and the average controller temperature is 50 degrees. So it's not even close to overheating. Yeah, and the amount of cases we have that overheated, actually, just for the people that records their ride, we have about 70 cases out of the 70 rides that people overheated out of 2,800 rides. So no, that's not a big problem.
When the bus is overheating, that basically means the controller just enters into thermal throttling, right? So it kind of reduces temporarily the performance of the controller, but it's not like the controller fries itself or anything.
Exactly. And again, people that want to fix that, you put the thermal pad on the side with the fins of the controller, right here. You put it on this side with and that's how you fix it. And you put the thermal pad here, you put it on the frame like this, and that's gonna fix it. The reason why it was not included in the kit is that we couldn't do it with customs. They didn't want us to put thermal padding for some reason, and we're able to fix that for the Ghost, but for the Phantom, that's why. And I saw people that put another thermal, like aluminum thing, another heatsink here, and then they wrap the whole controller in the heat pad. Don't do that. That's the worst thing, because you're trapping the heat inside. So just add something on this side, put it on the body, and that's it.
And guys, please, if you're unsure, or again, the Facebook community group is amazing, but please read the fine print of what some people are saying, and also ask us questions if you're not sure, because there was one case this week that someone posted the Phantom V3 overheating, but clearly mentioned that he was part of the beta tester wave last year. So he's using a controller that's a year old, and that's why he was overheating. And he very clearly said, I'm using the old version, this is why it's happening. And then if you're doing all these mods of putting things, just write to the team, get that extra step of approval from us, just to make sure it's not going to cause any issues with your thing. Our team is always here and happy to help. So please just reach out.
Cool. All right. One last question before we drop off, everyone. From Steve, is there or are there any plastic parts on the Pro?
Fenders, the fenders and the IoT, that's it. All the covers are metal. The throttle now are plastic as well. And the quad lock module to display, but everything else is metal. That's the scooter with the highest amount of metal or the least amount of plastic on the market.
Cool. Okay. Chris, Owa, anything else to add?
No, it's just, I think it's summer season, so enjoy your scooters. I'm really looking forward to getting back on. If you guys didn't watch a video last week on maintenance and safety, please rewatch it. It's so important that you guys tune your scooter, clean it up, tighten everything, make sure it's all ready to go. Safety is the #1 priority. So just rewatch that quick video and use our resources before the riding season. And yeah, just ride safe and enjoy. Really looking forward to the summer.
Beautiful. And I guess another accessory that we didn't mention, we made a new lock that I don't believe we posted yet, but that's going to be the best accessory you can put on your scooter, the new Ludo lock or whatever the name we're going to call it. But
yeah, maybe we can unveil it in a couple of weeks when we release the V6 as well. Cool. Okay. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It was great being here and answering your questions. We hope to see you next week, and have a fantastic weekend in the meantime. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.